Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling the, let's face it, unlikely king of the web, JavaScript. I mean, think about it. This is a language that was famously thrown together in just 10 days, and yet it somehow ended up powering, well, pretty much our entire digital world. So how on earth did that happen? Let's dig in.
Okay, so let's just start with a number that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. 98.9%. That's how many websites out there are using JavaScript. That's not just popular, right? That is total domination. It's basically a monopoly. So you gotta ask, how did one single language become this essential to the internet?
Well, to really get why it's so dominant, you have to understand its role in the grand scheme of things. See, the modern web is really built on three core technologies. Three pillars, if you will, and JavaScript is one of the big ones holding everything up.
All right, the best way to think about this is to imagine a website is a house. Simple enough, right? So HTML, that's your structure. It's the foundation, the walls, the roof, the bare bones blueprint of the house. Then you've got CSS. Think of CSS as the interior designer. It comes in and adds all the style, the paint on the walls, the furniture, all the decorations that actually make the house look like a home.
But, a house with just walls and nice paint is still just a static object, right? It doesn't do anything. That's where JavaScript comes in. JavaScript is the electricity, the plumbing, the Wi-Fi. It's the behavior layer. It's what makes the house actually functional and interactive. It's the magic that turns a boring static page into a dynamic application you can actually use.
Okay, so if JavaScript is doing all this stuff, handling animations, fetching data from servers, all at once, how does it not just grind to a complete halt? I mean, that's a lot to juggle. Well, the secret is all in how its engine is designed to think about time.
Here's the tricky part. At its core, JavaScript is what we call single-threaded. Now, what does that mean? It means it can only do one thing at a time. Seriously, imagine a grocery store with only one checkout lane. If the person in front of you is paying with 1,000,000 coupons, everyone else is stuck waiting. In the programming world, we call that blocking, and if the web worked that way, it would be painfully slow. But of course, JavaScript has a very clever trick up its sleeve.
And that secret trick is called asynchronous programming. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is simple. Instead of doing everything one by one by one in a long, slow line, JavaScript can kick off a time-consuming task, say downloading a big image. And then, and this is the key, it just moves on to other stuff. It basically splits its to-do list into stuff I have to do right now and stuff I'll check back on later.
The best analogy for this is a really, really good waiter at a restaurant. So, the waiter takes your order, right? But they don't just go stand by the kitchen door and wait for it. That would be a terrible waiter. No, they send the order to the kitchen, and then they go serve other tables, refill drinks, clear plates. They keep working. Then, when your food is ready, the kitchen rings a bell, and they go pick it up. That is exactly how JavaScript's engine works. It never just stands around waiting, which means you, the user, never get stuck.
And you know what's so wild about all this? This really sophisticated system, it wasn't some grand, perfectly planned out design, not even close. JavaScript's rise to the top was frankly a rushed, chaotic, and kind of brilliant accident that was born out of the crazy browser wars back in the 90s.
So let's rewind. It's 1995. A guy at Netscape named Brendan Eich gets a task: create a new scripting language for the browser. And he does it in 10 days, just 10. Of course, Microsoft immediately made their own competing version, and things got messy. So to stop the chaos, they had to create a standard called ECMAScript to make sure everyone was playing by the same rules. Then a huge leap forward in 2009. Node.js appears. This was massive because for the first time, JavaScript could run on servers, not just in your browser. And then in 2015, we got ES6, which was this huge update that really turned JavaScript into the mature, powerful language we have today.
So that brings us to today. And modern JavaScript, it's a whole different beast. It's a totally professional, full-fledged language with this gigantic ecosystem of tools that has completely changed how we build software.
Yeah, that ES6 update I mentioned, it was a revolution, no joke. It gave us things like let and const, which finally fixed some really annoying long-standing issues with how variables worked. We got arrow functions for a much cleaner, shorter syntax, but the absolute biggest game changer? Async await. This finally made that whole efficient waiter thing, that powerful asynchronous model, super, super easy to write and understand.
And because of this amazing modern toolkit, JavaScript has become what people call a universal language. It is so much more than just websites now.
We're talking server backends with Node.js. We're talking mobile apps built with things like React Native. Real-time chat applications, crazy interactive maps, complex data visualizations, even browser-based games. The point is, you can build an entire application from the user interface to the server logic, all with just one language.
But of course, no technology is perfect, right? Nothing is a silver bullet. And for all its power and flexibility, JavaScript definitely comes with its own set of challenges and trade-offs that developers deal with every single day.
So let's break it down. On the pro side, you've got this huge ecosystem. There's a library or a framework for pretty much anything you can imagine. It's also incredibly fast now, thanks to these modern just-in-time compiler engines. And as we said, it's a universal language. But there are downsides. Running code directly in a user's browser, well, that opens up security risks. And while it's gotten way better, you can still run into annoying inconsistencies between different browsers. And then there's its weakly typed nature. That just means the language tries to be helpful and guess what kind of data you're using, which can sometimes lead to some really weird and confusing bugs.
So when you put it all together, there's no question that JavaScript is the undisputed king of the web today. But the tech world never, ever stands still. We have new technologies like WebAssembly starting to pop up, designed to handle super heavy-duty tasks right inside the browser. So the real question isn't, will JavaScript disappear? I don't think that's happening anytime soon. The real question is, how will this accidental king continue to evolve? How will it adapt to stay on top, as the web itself is constantly being rebuilt and reimagined?